If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Mostly because I'm just going to reload and toggle God mode on, mate. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Me and Darth Deacon here are playing around with lightsabers. Now, I've only recently discovered the joys of melee combat in Fallout 4, but this mod is already making me want to do a Jedi playthrough. Sorry. This weapon is way too powerful and way too much fun. Well, I mean, it's not that powerful, but it's... No, it is. It's pretty damn powerful. Now, there already was a lightsaber mod, so you may be wondering, what's the difference? What does this have that that last mod did not? And the answer to that is options. Lots more of them. I'm sure you've noticed that my lightsaber is a different colour to Deacon's, but if you also noticed, I'm holding mine in a two-handed grip and have a much longer, for the want of a better word, blade? Beam, I suppose it is? Beam, yes, I have a longer beam. And no, I'm not overcompensating. This weapon is extremely moddable, so to speak. You can change so many different things. So, for example, you can change the hilt to one of, well, many different types, but you can choose two-handed or one-handed versions. It doesn't change the damage or anything like that, but it does change the way you hold the weapon. You can choose something like the standard pink blade, and you're already getting a pretty fast striking weapon that does a lot of damage. But if you want, you can also change it to a shorter version of the pink blade, or even, like, the short version is kind of like a short sword. The small version, well, it kind of looks like a penknife blade, except you've got this massive hilt. It does look a little strange, in my opinion. There you go. I'll go third person so you can see it a little bit. In fact, it looks very weird when you're holding it like that. Oh, it's because I've got a two-handed grip on it. I need to change the grip back to, let's change this to the Vader hilt. Single-handed. Looks a little better in the one-handed. Yeah, there you go. As you can see, it's got a tiny little blade, but it's faster. It's much faster. You have unstable versions that actually do slightly more damage, and you can add an electrical crystal that will actually increase the amount of energy damage you do, which is already insanely overpowered as it is, or a radioactive crystal which will do radiation damage, or even a cryogen crystal that turns the blade cold. It doesn't actually freeze your enemy in place, but it does do cold damage. Now, I currently have this lightsaber set to have a heavy sound when swinging, but I can actually change that to the classic sound, and that will sound a little more like it does in the movies. But you can even change the sound it makes when you take the weapon out or when you shut it off. Let's put shut off style Sith 3. You can even change the sound it makes during the idle phase. It's completely up to you. This thing is unbelievably customizable. Honestly, I'm kind of amazed by the sheer number of things you can change on this. Some of the sounds are a little startling, as you can hear. Honestly, the only options I can think of that this mod does not have are for a cross hilt or perhaps a staff version. You know, one with two beams, one coming out of either side of the hilt. But I'm guessing that would actually be kind of difficult for the animations. But maybe the cross hilt would be kind of cool. Honestly, I can't actually see why you couldn't have this weapon in the game. I know it reeks of Star Wars, but hey, we've got sillier weapons in the game than a plasma sword. They are very powerful, they do a lot of damage and hit very fast. However, maybe you could balance it a little by running around the wasteland in a bathrobe, which is basically what I'm doing here. If you're wondering what the outfit is on the left, it's kind of a glorified bathrobe. It's actually a mod that's just come out. I will leave a link down below that gives you Jedi Robes either in brown or black, and as you can see adds high heel boots to them, but at a quick glance it looks Jedi enough in my opinion. Or of course the Darth-Vader armor. I will leave a link to that as well. That is really well done. Obviously if you're going for a more evil dark Sith Lord kind of playthrough, perhaps that's the outfit you're going to want with these weapons. And whilst I was actually making this video, somebody decided to release a Stormtrooper armor mod. And so let's face it, I pretty much had to show you this. It goes with the theme. It's actually a pretty good version of the Stormtrooper armor. Now I know this armor is not exactly the most complex of all models, and it wasn't in the films either, but it pretty much feels spot on to me. It really does look like the Stormtrooper armor. There are no gloves with it, so you're probably going to have to download another mod that adds gloves if you want the full effect, and of course if you're going to wear this yourself you might want to use a mod that removes the Pip-Boy. I don't think it works with this armor. The stats on the armor are pretty damned impressive, with 250 damage resistance and energy resistance and 300 radiation resistance. The helmet is 30 damage and energy resistance and 100 radiation resistance. This seems pretty powerful, but bear in mind you cannot wear any other pieces of armor with it, and you cannot upgrade it at all. There are no upgrade options for this armor. You use it as is, so you will be running around with 280 armor and 400 radiation resistance, which is not bad actually. If you have the right perks to upgrade armor and you have access to ballistic weave, you will be able to get far higher damage resistance than this on standard vanilla armor, but overall I would consider this armor to be pretty good even for the end game. Overall I really like this mod, and I can't help but think that I would like a mod that uses this armor and replaces all the Brotherhood of Steel armor, replaces Maxton's armor with Darth Vader's armor, and then I would do a full-on Sith playthrough. Headlamps. We love them, they're very, very cool. We've got them on our power armor, and we use mods to put them on things like our Pip-Boy. There are mods that add them to lamps over your shoulder, and plenty of other headlamp mods. Mods that give you directional light, which is very cool, and occasionally very useful. But apparently I'm not the only one who finds it a little hard sometimes to do looting with headlamps. I actually prefer the Pip-Boy light. Well, with a simple and yet fairly unknown mod called Omnidirectional Powered Armor Headlamps, you can pretty much get, well, exactly that, omnidirectional headlamps. It gives the same sort of light you get when you're using your Pip-Boy, which for me is actually just more useful when looting. Now the mod doesn't change all of the headlamps, the coloured ones for example. As you can see with the red one, I've still got the directional light. So you can actually have different helmets, one for directional with colour and one omnidirectional without colour if you want. Of course then you have to carry two power armor helmets around with you. So basically now you have the option. Here's the bright version. As you can see, it is omnidirectional and it is massively bright. This would actually be very useful for finding things. The only way in which I would say this mod could be better is if you could actually toggle it. Could you imagine if you could press a button and it would go into a headlamp beam, and then press the button again and it goes back to the omnidirectional one? That would be superb. But even in its current state, I think this is a great idea, and I think there's going to be more than a few people who actually like this. Because as I said, headlamps are cool, but sometimes you just want more light. It has been a while since I've covered any major settlement mods, but this next one should definitely make up for that. It's called Thematic and Practical. And this mod adds a lot of new settlement items, and they all share a kind of, well, the feeling of being made with stuff you have found in the wasteland. You will find the new things in its own section called Thematic and Practical, and under there you have two sections, Scavenger and Trading Emporium. I'm going to show you the scavenger items first. If we go in there, you will notice we've got sleeping furniture, sitting furniture, tables, shelves, containers, guard posts, decorations, miscellaneous, and experiments. And if I go under sleeping furniture, I will find further sections, beds, bunk beds, couple beds, pillows, and sleeping bags. So as you can see, there are a lot of things in this mod. And if I actually build a few of them to give you an idea of what you have access to, you'll get a feeling for what is involved. As you can see here, all of these beds have been made with the sort of junk that you actually find. Instead of finding a lot of steel and cloth in the form of teddy bears and broken cars, and then somehow magically making beds that look suspiciously pre-war, you're finding boxes, basketball, whatever that is, backboards, and so on, and making beds out of that. And they look really believable. The couple beds are actually kind of cool because if you've got yourself married and you want a double bed, you can now do that. If you want bunk beds, you build the bottom part first and then the next part. Now look at the beds. I've currently got 29. Now I've got 30. So this actually counts as 2 beds, as does this. You have a variety of pillows and they snap into place on all of the different beds. You can place them so it kind of looks like you've actually placed them at an angle, like that for example. And of course sleeping bags, although I've always felt a little strange making sleeping bags for my settlers. It's like I can make them proper beds, but I'm going to give them sleeping bags instead. But maybe you've just got some kind of campsite going on. And there are chairs, you've got some benches, you've got armchairs. You've got homemade armchairs made with pillows, pieces of wood and concrete. We have couches made from a variety of wasteland materials. I'm beginning to feel like I'm in an IKEA showroom, the sort of wasteland edition. And even a bunch of miscellaneous sitting objects. They don't call them chairs, but we've got a toilet with some wood placed across it, and hey, you can even sit in an old wheelchair if you want. And if I move over to tables, once again, I've got coffee tables with a massive variety of things there. I'm going to go out to dining tables and make some dining tables out of scrap. You've got bar tables. You've got counters. Oh, you've only got one of those? Oh dear, oh dear, I feel like I'm not getting my value from this mod now, he says, somewhat lying. There are wall shelves, there are containers, and just so many more. The guard posts are really interesting. Let me show you those if I can figure out how to get out of my little showroom. This mod has a few fairly cool looking guard posts that are made with things like cars, for like this one. Or this one, and they are pretty damned cool looking. But the reason I actually love this one is it has one guard post that you can snap into position in buildings, in walls. So for example here, if I'm going to remove this, let me just scrap that for now. I can put the first guard post, this one, and it snaps into place like so. And this is something I've really wanted, because I like to build walls. I do like to build walls, but the concrete walls, for example, don't work well with the existing guard posts because, well, they just don't suit it. Whereas with this mod, you can actually place this one inside, flush against the concrete wall, which looks massively well protected. Now, I'm not sure if your settlers will actually stay behind these particular guard posts and fire from them, or do the usual trick of just running straight outside all your defences and walls and attacking the enemies face to face. But, you know, at least you can imagine you have made them a well-defended settlement. And on top of all of that, you have a decorations section which will allow you to place various bits of scrap and junk, from plywood to crates, barrels, cinder blocks, and even cars, just to sort of make the place look a little more, well, I don't know what, messy, artistic. That's completely up to you. There is even a thematic and practical doghouse. One of my favourite things in this mod is actually the Trading Emporium, which has a structure section and a store section. Under stores you will find signs and vendors, and the vendors section is, well, very cool. Again, all of the different vendors, I will pick the general section. You have a variety of different vendors possible, and they come in a variety of sizes. You can see this one. This is one of the 3rd tier vendor things, as is this, but this one is a little wider and has a door. You can also see that they are snapping onto the floor. Let me assign some settlers to these so that we actually have a few shopkeepers. And so now I have 3 traders stood at their counters. I really like this one, actually. I'm a big fan of this one. And it took me only a few seconds to make. And I'm sure you can imagine the things you can make, the sort of shopping areas you could make, seeing as all of these items snap the same way standard walls snap. And don't worry, you have signs for all of these things. That was my general store. I'm going to place that sign there. I'm going to put, this isn't a clinic, but I can place the sign like that if I want. I don't know whether, you can actually place them in various places over the counter. And if you want something a little more exotic, under the structures you have floors that will allow you to create, well, essentially hexagonal, I don't know what you'd call them, markets. They snap into place exactly the same way as normal floors snap into place. And with different counters, with roofs, different back walls and so on, you can make some fairly interesting little markets. There are even custom stair pieces for these special floors if you want to have a raised area. All round, this is not just a great mod with hundreds and hundreds of different items that you can create. It is a mod that has been really created with a theme and with such polish that I can't help but feel it's almost like a DLC. It feels like a themed DLC pack for the settlement building. I am really impressed with this, really impressed, and if you are a settlement builder, this is one of those that you almost certainly have to install. And that is all we have time for this week. Of course, I'm going to be ending this video with the screenshots that you guys have been posting. A big thank you to everybody who has contributed. If you would like me to use one of your screenshots in any of my videos, I will leave a link down below and it will take you to a video that shows you exactly how you can do that. I will be back soon with a mod vault, although I cannot promise exactly when. As most of you probably know, the special edition of Skyrim is about to be released, and that may well absorb some of my time. I will try to make a special effort to get some mod vaults done as well during this crazy period, but please don't scream and shout at me if I fail occasionally. Of course, I would love it if you could join me for any of those mod vaults or any of the Skyrim special edition videos that I will inevitably make. I look forward to seeing you in those videos, and until then, remember, as always, have fun. If you're curious as to whether I've covered a mod in one of my videos, feel free to go along to my website, gophersvids.com, and check the search functionality out. Just type the name of the mod you're interested in, open up the settings, and filter by mods only. Click for search, and you will see whether or not I've covered that mod. Click on the mod, and it will also show you any of the videos this mod appears in.